Hi guys, and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today we're unboxing a watch from a brand called Reverie, and this is their model Atlantis. I believe this is the second model they introduced. And I'm pretty intrigued by this watch because of the shape and also the dimensions. So let's open the package and see what we got. Okay, so here we got a thank you card for reviewing this watch. We'll read that later. Let's move on to the main package, and they really wrapped it pretty well. So let's open this one. And as you can see, the watch comes in this leather pouch. So let's undo the buckle. Oh, and this is pretty tight. Let's move away the knife and unwrap it. Okay, so this is the leather pouch. As you can see, it has 4 places, so you can actually use it as a transportation for your watches. It comes with a strap changing tool, or is it a link removal? I believe this is a link removal tool. And in this main pouch, there's the watch. So let's open it and see how it looks. Are you ready? And here it is. This is the Reverie Atlantis. And I have to admit, it's a pretty handsome watch. Now when I saw the pictures, I was very excited. But I was mostly excited, oh, look at the case. It looks a lot like the Omega Speedmaster Mark II with these straight cut lugs and the bevels. So it's brushed all around, and the brushing looks pretty decent. And then you have these polished bevels. I like the look of the watch on the photos, and I have to admit that in person it really does look good as well. It has a signed crown. Look at the bezel. Comes with a sapphire crystal. The movement powering this is a Miyota 9039, which is a no-date version of the 9015. So it beats at 28,800 bph. It comes with both hacking and hand winding, and as you can see, and it's a true no-date movement. So this is not like when you get Seiko NH movements, and then when they don't have a date, they're actually do have a date, but it's just hidden, so you have to pull it to the second click to hack the seconds. But on this is a true no date movement. You see, the first click stops the second hand. It also comes with hand winding, and as you can see, the watch does feature a screw-in crown because it comes with 200 meters of water resistance, which is impressive because of one more thing, and it's the thinness. This watch is just 11 millimeters thick, which for an automatic that's 200 meter water resistant is pretty impressive. My Seiko 5s, which are dressy and are like 50 meters water resistant, are 11.5 to 12, and this is just 11. So another watch proving that we really don't need those overly thick watches to achieve a decent water resistance. Now let's try the bezel. It has a nice action, but I have to admit it's kind of hard to grip because of the shape. As you can see, it does give a nice line to the case, but it does kind of slip. Now I'm using my fingers without any gloves, so it's not a problem, but I do believe this would be pretty hard to use using your gloves. I do like the handset. It looks something like a Seiko Velatura used to have. I don't know if those are still around. And these come in like 3 dial variations. This is the blue one, you have the green one, and the third color, I forget what it is. Now let's take a look at the bracelet. The bracelet does taper quite a bit, and it's a solid link bracelet with solid end links, and it comes with a quick release. And look at this. The clasp is actually a Rolex styled clasp, and it's signed with Reverie. So let's open it and see if it's a true Rolex styled clasp. And yes, it is. It has this this hinged system, and it looks like it's polished. Oh look, it even has the glide lock. Okay, let's try the glide lock. Wait, it has to be opened. It really does have a glide lock, but it's kind of It's not really gliding as the ones on a Rolex. It does go that way, but when you push it in, it's kind of getting stuck. But this is a prototype that's used for reviews only, so I will be sending this watch away. And, well, if Reverie is watching this, you should really get this sorted out for the production models, because this is kind of getting stuck as you push it in. Like I said, going out is quite easy, but I do like this. And the actual the clasp action here is pretty good. It's really nice. So this should be addressed. This is pretty much perfect. I like the taper of the bracelet, and it seems like it's all brushed, just like a Rolex Oyster bracelet. Now the dial on this, as you can see, has two finishes. So you have this guilloche in the middle, and then you have this brushing on the outside. I do like the simple markers, I like the seconds hand, and overall the aesthetics of this watch. It's very simple. Now, like I said, the dimensions were the thing that got me intrigued, because this is a 40mm watch with just 43mm lug to lug, which is impossibly short, which means that it should look great on my wrist, because I do prefer smaller looking watches. And combined with 11mm of thickness, it gives a very nice and balanced look. Now, the one thing that I noticed is that this watch feels very heavy and very solid, from the case to the bracelet and the clasp as well. So let's put it on my wrist and see what's what. Let me just take my trusty G-Shock and put this one. Again, the clasp action is pretty good. Now, I won't be closing it because it's probably too big, since I didn't size it. Yup, it's very big. But here it is on my 6.7-inch wrist. And look at that. It really looks compact. And it actually looks like it's a perfect size for my wrist. So again, just based on the dimensions, and I really do like the shape of this case, but based on the way it looks on my wrist, this is yet another watch that I'll be sadly sending away to the next reviewer. But it is pretty cool. Now, so Miyota, sapphire crystal, pretty decent bracelet with an excellent clasp except for this. But like I said, this is a pre-production model, so maybe on production models they're going to solve this and make it glide more easily. Miyota movement. So this is a $500 watch, but they do run a Kickstarter campaign, and if you get involved into the campaign, you get 35% discounts, bringing this to $325. And I have to admit that at $325, this is a pretty nice value proposition, especially given that some other Seiko NH movement powered watches cost that much. Now, since I am filming this in the dark, I didn't have the time to unbox it when I got from work, we can actually test the Lume. Since it was in a box, let's just put it to the light for a couple of seconds, get it into the camera, and turn off the light. There. And the Lume is pretty decent. Now, when I read in the brochure, they said they used the blue Lume for the hands and green Lume for the markers and the bezel pip. And although I like the simplicity of the Lume, as you can see, you have the tip of the seconds hand loomed, and you have only the triangle of the bezel loomed, which is the way I prefer it. I don't like when brands put all the numerals loomed, but I'm kind of wondering why they went with this two-colored scheme. I mean, I understand when Omega did it on the Planet Ocean, making the bezel pip and the minute hand in one color and the rest in the other, because it makes sense since you're using the bezel to track the minutes. But on this, it just looks like the hands come from another watch. So again, another thing that I would advise Reverie to address, and to make the hands the same color as the markers. But overall, I really do like the look of this watch, and it's very original. You have to admit it's very original. I mean, it is a combination of different watches, having the case like the Omega Speedmaster Mark II, the hands are like the Seiko Velatura, and the dial is pretty simple. The clasp and the bracelet are like from a Rolex. It's a mishmash, but it's a good mishmash. And I just wanted to test another thing, because this is a 40mm watch, but because of its incredibly short lug to lug, I brought another 40mm watch with me just so to show you the difference between two 40mm watches. So these watches have the same dimensions, but the one that I'm going to show you has a lot longer lug-to-lug, and it's all dial. And as you can see, look how much bigger it actually appears, which shows yet once again that the diameter of the watch is not the most important dimension. It's the lug-to-lug and the overall correlation between the dial, the bezel, and the case. Because on this, the bezel kind of shrinks the dial and it makes the whole watch appear slightly smaller. Anyways, that's it when it comes to this unboxing. I like the watch. I'll be wearing it for a couple of weeks or even longer, and then I'll make a full review with macro shots and my impressions after I spend some time with it. But already I have to admit, this feels like it's built like a tank. Nothing rattles, nothing. It really feels solid. That's the one thing that I can feel already. And like I said, I do like the original design. Anyways, since this is a Kickstarter campaign, I will leave a link in the description. So if you want to join the Kickstarter campaign, please do click on that link. Like I said, they say that after the campaign ends, they're gonna increase the price to $500. And for the specs, it's a decent price, but at $325, it's more than decent. It's pretty good. The one thing that I don't know, and I'll probably find it out by the review, is whether the AR coating on the sapphire crystal is inner only or double-sided. But by these reflections, I would say it's inner only, which is the way I like it. But I'll have that information by the time of the review. Anyways, that's it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. And until the next video, bye.